that schedule like?
It was actually awful, because I didn't know exactly this. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I feel actually a little weird because usually I'm used to doing interviews who don't know my story, but you know my whole story. This is funny because you've already heard all
They
this.
do not know your whole story though, so feel
Nope.
free
I
to.
did. I was just making a comment because usually people have no idea who I am, but you're asking me questions that I know you know the answer to, which is kind of making me crack up over here. But anyways, it took me a while because I didn't know I didn't have a skill set. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And for the first probably 6 months, I was still figuring out what I wanted to do. So I was just reading books and meeting you for coffee and trying to figure out what I could do to make money on the side. But once I finally kind of got focused on building my business, my schedule was pretty insane. I was actually in school for the first part of it. I don't know if you remember that, but my schedule basically was like 5:30 to 7 in the morning. I would go to Starbucks on Trinity, and I would wake up, drive to Starbucks, get an Americano or a double shot, which I inherited my mother's taste for double shots. And I would work until 7, and then I would go to work from 7:30 to 4:30, and then I would go to the gym, and then I would work from 6:30 to about 10.
Crazy long days. I remember there were some tensions that began to grow, though, that while you were at this other company, because they mandated a Saturday work day. And kind of share what you started doing so that you didn't have to work on that Saturday at the employer place. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I wasn't able to get out of that until I was making money. At first, I just had to do it. But this was this the summer of 2014 or the summer of 2015? This was the summer of 2014.
14.
Yeah, the summer of 2014. I had bought about $3,000 worth of products and probably invested a couple thousand hours into trying to make all of it work at this point. And once I started making money, which making money was like I got a $300 client. It wasn't enough to get me out of my job, but it was the first money for me. They started making me work Saturdays, so I was paying other people to work for me on Saturday mornings, so that I could go work at Starbucks. I didn't mention that, but I was also working Saturday all day. So Monday through Friday, I was doing the 5:30 to 7, work during the day, then working at night, and then I would work all day Saturdays.
And then you pretty much worked all day on Sundays too, leading worship at our church.
What did you say, Lindsay?
Then you served at church for 8 hours.
Yeah, then I served at church on Sunday for 8 hours. Yeah, she said the same thing you did.
It's pretty busy.
My dad said be quiet. I'm totally kidding.
She knows better. So would you say, though, when you finally decided you wanted to do something else, you were going to school, you end up quitting the school deal, transitioned to hiring a coach, which you didn't have the money for. Why don't you tell that story?
Yep. So that was a little bit later on. So from the summer of 2014, I had bought a couple $1,000s worth of products. I remember.
What do you mean by products?
Just training. So I bought a course for about $500. I bought another kind of course / product license, right? Which basically gave me. I thought I wanted to like sell other people's products at first, and so I was buying a bunch of different products that I could sell. So that was about $2,000. So I had put all of this on my American Express, which I had just gotten approved for like a month before, and it didn't work. I couldn't. It's not that it didn't work. I just couldn't figure it out, even though I was working and hustling, and I was doing all these different things, and I was building a website for myself, and I was trying to sell other people's products, and I was trying to learn marketing, and I was trying to help my wife with her salon. I was doing so many things that it was hard to make any of it work. And then fast forward through the fall into kind of early winter, like November, things started finally clicking and turning around. I got a couple clients. started being able to actually sell some things. That's when I started paying other people on Saturdays to work for me. And then by the time we got to Christmas, I couldn't figure out how to replicate the one client that I had gotten, and he didn't even use my work. So I got the client, he paid me like $300, and then it wasn't good enough for him to use, so he didn't even use it. So luckily he didn't ask for his money back, so I got to keep that. And then I couldn't figure out how to get another client. So it took me 3 months to get another client. That was in February. And then when I hired the coach, that was actually right after I had quit my job. So the second client I got was $2,000 per month.
Before you quit, was there ever a time that you felt like you were so far over your head that you were just about ready to quit?
Actually, I saw that question that you sent through, and my first answer was no. But then I asked Lindsay, and she said there were many times that I wanted to quit. But I don't totally remember those times. I think I've kind of like worked it out of my memory a little bit. But she said there were a lot of times when I wanted to quit. Overwhelmed, stressed out, starting random fights for no reason.
With your wife?
Yep.
So what kind of emotions did you have going through your head when you were finally ready to go in and quit the day job and do this full time?
Well, I was scared because a steady $2,000 a month is almost better than the chance to earn $10,000 a month, but it might be up and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the perceived safety of a job.
Yeah, exactly. At least, we could budget things and we could save a little bit and all of these different consistent elements. And so I do remember that. I remember being a little bit scared, and I remember talking to you about it and kind of working through the worst case scenarios and kind of thinking through, like, if I lose all my clients and nothing works, what are the options for me, So yeah, I was definitely scared. And there were definitely times when I wasn't probably 100% sure. But I think just because I am an entrepreneur and a pretty stubborn entrepreneur at that, I've just chosen to let go of certain memories. And I think that's actually really important. I actually think that's a skill set that needs to be developed.
So why don't you talk about the mindset? Because you had plenty of challenges. You had plenty of people that I remember some of our conversations where they actually told you that you weren't any good at doing what you were trying to do.
Yep.
How did you overcome all that?
Well, the number one trait, and people ask me this all the time now, on interviews and podcasts, and I was just on a podcast this last weekend of a guy who has 300,000 downloads in the past couple of weeks. So it's he was asking the same question, what's the number one trait of successful entrepreneurs? And I didn't even have to think about it just because it's kind of ingrained in my memory, but my answer was resiliency. It's the number one trait to be able to achieve anything. You look at even the Larry Birds and the Michael Jordans, and I don't even know who the people on this call would know, but for us it's basketball. None of them were naturally talented or good. They didn't have they weren't born with an epic skill set. They just had the ability to withstand more pain and to put in more time than anybody else on the court. And so, for me, I just made my mind up that if it took me 50 years, it took me 50 years. I wasn't going to move on. I was going to figure it out. And because of that, the times that were challenging, the times when I did get made fun of and people told me, I wasn't going to, people actually did tell me that I was a horrible copywriter, and I remember coming home one night, Lindsay was cooking I don't remember what she was cooking, but she was cooking it in a cast iron skillet. I remember that much. And then the house smelled really good. And I just came home and I was just depressed because a bunch of people I had pitched a bunch of jobs and couldn't get anyone to pay me anything. And she was just like, well, do you know that this is something that you want to do? And I was like, no, I don't. But that night, like I kind of hit rock bottom. And I decided that I was going to figure it out no matter what.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now. The last we heard was, is this what you really want to do? And you said no, but that was a time, and
I hit. That was just a time when I hit like rock bottom, I guess, so to speak. And I think everyone has to kind of get there to where they are willing to set the price, like they set the price they're willing to pay. And for me, that price was everything except for my marriage. I was going to figure it out. And that's where my drive came from, even today. It never stops. But hiring the coach is where you were going, right?
right.
Yeah, so I quit my job in March, and I was making $2,000 a month from a retainer client. So I had one client. And then I talked to this guy, and he said, he said he would basically help me build my business. His coaching fee was $6,000. So I'm making $2,000 a month. He's charging $6,000. My wife is making like $1,500 a month, and our bills are easily $3,500 a month. So we're using all of our money to live. And I was like, cool, let's do it, and put it on an Amex. I split it up to 3 installments of $2,000, and this is like the worst. This is the worst idea ever, but I was just like, let's go for it, and put it on there. The first month I didn't make anything. The second month I didn't make anything. I was out of room on my credit card, but that was when my back hit the wall. And like looking back, every time that my back has been up against the wall, like that's typically when like the burners come on and I make it happen. And so that third month I made $36,000.
You made what?
$36,000.
You're able to
So
pay.
I went from $2,000 to 36 that month, and then it never slowed down.
That was a turning point, obviously. So you've created some pretty good daily habits over the last couple of years, and I know some people would probably think, if you're making $36,000 in a month, you've arrived. You probably don't have to do all the hard work that you did before, but I know your mindset is a big deal for you. And 2+ years in, so what does your day look like now? How do you go about scheduling, preparing for your day?
I still wake up early. You want to know like what my mindset rituals look like, or kind of what my day looks like? Both.
How do you drive and direct your mindset, first of all?
Yeah. So maybe you could share. Do you have that success formula video that I could send to you? And maybe
the 11-minute one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, maybe you could share that with people after. But basically, it's just I have a list of a good book to read is a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, just like about how to keep your mindset, how to keep your vision where you want it to be. But when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do, I'm kind of changing it and experimenting all the time, but I have a notebook with goals in them, things that I want to accomplish. So my goals are always out ahead of me to the point where they feel kind of impossible. So my first goal was to do, 6 months ago, it was 7 months ago, 8 months ago, was to do like $100,000 a month in sales. And we've been there for a while. And now my goal is to do $6 million a year in sales. And so I'm constantly kind of changing it to keep them out of reach. And I read it every morning. So I have a list of like Taylor Welch. That's not me yet, but it's who I want to be. So it's like, I can almost read it off by memory. Like Taylor Welch is a world-renowned internet marketer. His business generates $6.5 million a year. He lives on a $1.4 million house sitting in the hills of Franklin with his dog Lady, his wife Lindsay. They have $1 million condo in Orange Beach, Alabama. He owns 100 rental properties that pay him $1,000. And I could just it's 14 pages long. Basically, the first page is who I want to be, what I want to have, what cars I want to drive, pictures that speak out to me. So I have a picture of a Tesla because I'm ready. You know that I'm trying to get a Tesla. Every time I talk to you, you're like, you just need to wait. But Thank you for your wisdom on that. But it's basically just like who I want to be. One of my favorite questions on there is like, it's kind of silly, but it's basically like if you were, let's say you're walking down the road and you're sucked through a time vortex and you meet yourself a year from now. What clothes are you wearing? And what do you stop and say to yourself, the future you? What 3 things are you proud of a year from now? So one of the things that I'm proud of a year from now is that we tithed 6 figures to our church. Things that are just like way beyond what is actual reality now, but it's kind of getting into like how I make decisions, how I think. And now it's funny to watch like how we start making decisions based on the person we want to become. And that brings reality into alignment with that. It sounds a little woo-woo, but it works, obviously.
Well, and in looking at your list, I think I saw something about buying your parents a place in Orange Beach as well.
Yeah, that's that's first on the list. Get you that first.
Grammy.
And Grammy. Oh, Grammy's on this call. Uh-oh. I better not cuss.
No.
You have a question?
Well, okay. I wanted to tell you guys, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, none of us are copywriters. None of us work in the industry that Taylor works in. We're not going to be doing funnels and marketing and things of that sort. So what does this have to do with us? And the reason that I wanted Taylor and Lance to kind of talk, for you to kind of see a little bit about what he's doing, is because even though he's in a different industry, he's still networking. He's still entrepreneurial, and we are all entrepreneurs. We all, in order to make our business work, we have to network, and that's exactly the heart of what he did. Another thing he had to do was he had to set his mind right. And I know that's a really big thing. I'm just gonna tell you that when I first started with Plexus, my mind was just a trash heap because I didn't know what I was doing really. I didn't understand the whole ramification of what I would be doing even at this point 2 years ago. I had a lot of head trash to work through regarding network marketing. And so what's happened is, you guys might have been studying all this before I did, but in the last 6 months, really, I've dug in more to personal growth and things of that sort, which is kind of what we do with Lance, the coaching that he provides to our team. And so anyway, I just wanted to make sure that you guys kind of knew and drew the comparison with what Taylor does and what we do is strictly entrepreneurial, and it's networking based.
Taylor, there was something you said in that video that I'll share the link with everybody. But there was one phrase that you put in there that I have used several times. Yes, now I'm quoting you. How's that for a turn of the tables?
Yes.
One thing that you said is those affirmations, those future who you're going to be. You don't just say them and then go about your day. They're followed up by massive what? You want to finish that?
Implementation and action. Massive
amounts of action. I love that phrase because we can dream big, we can speak the right things, but at the end of the day, they've got to be followed up with action.
Yeah.
How hard is that to do when you're doing well?
Well, it gets harder because there are more things that you could be doing. And so the hardest part is doing 1 or 2 things consistently rather than trying to do everything at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it's like we work with some people who are in like the network marketing industry, and the hardest thing is always they're doing so many different things that they can't get any type of momentum. It's like, it's the same with me and with our business. Is like, if I just wake up and open my laptop, there are literally thousands of emails, notifications, people to respond to. I have no idea what produces revenue. I have no idea what produces customers. And so that's why the first thing I have to do before I open my laptop is go to my notebook, look at what results I want to produce, and then reverse engineer every single day back into what's the 1, 2, maybe 3 things that are going to produce this the fastest, and then outsource everything else, or just flat out ignore it. Because most of the stuff that's like urgent it's not effective in producing what you want.
Which kind of ties into something I've shared with the group, those 3 R's, what's required, what gives me the greatest return, what gives the greatest reward. You go through your day and you segment them out, and there are things that don't fit those categories. Sounds like you just either delegate it or you don't do them at all.
Yep. Like there are a lot of things we don't do at all, and there are some people that call us out for it or make fun of us, and they're all poor. So I don't really care. I focus on what produces results. That's it.
All right. So if you don't mind, Taylor, completely random opportunity now for anybody that has any questions as to, how long has this process been, any recommendations he would have, any unique challenges. Why don't we open it up for just a few minutes of anybody that has any questions. And Cindy Street Matter is on the call now, Taylor. She probably has some very good questions for you.
Hey, Mama. Oh, she's muted.
What's up?
How are you?
I'm proud of you.
You look great.
I'm taking notes.
No, you're not.
Oh, I already have them on page 3.
What?
I'm so proud of you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Very proud.
Love you guys.
Love you. Keep teaching.
What you guys want to know?
Nancy, Becky, Betty, you 3 have usually got some good questions.
So, I have a question.
Okay.
So you said that maybe you're doing some things, I don't know that unorthodox is the way, but maybe not doing maybe what some other people that in your industry, and forgive me because I'm not going to know the jargon, but are you doing things a little bit different than maybe what others might do?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, totally different.
And so that's been something that has been a little bit, I don't know if that's, I think I feel that way sometimes coming from a traditional business. Now that I'm doing this, I think people are always like, well, what are you doing? So, but you have to get to that point, like you said, where you're saying it doesn't matter what you think. I'm going to do this. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's there are 2 reasons we're pretty unconventional. The first is that's just marketing. Anytime you can be different, you're going to stand out and create attention. And this is the attention age, the attention economy. If you can get someone's attention and get someone's engagement, then that precedes any sale. And so part of it's marketing, but then the other half is most of what people are doing, what you would call traditional, is producing middle class to lower middle class people. And if you want to be different, you have to act different. You have to focus on different things.
So I have another more basic question, and that is, can you kind of tell us what exactly it is that you do? If I'm the only one that doesn't know, then
this is like everyone's question. So we take people who this is what we do right now. So I'll give you just kind of the narrow view. We can really do anything. We're marketers. So we've worked with all sorts of different types of people. But right now what we're doing is we're building marketing systems that specifically generate clients. So whether we work with done-for-you service providers, we work with other consultants, we work with coaches, anybody, let's say Steve Streetmatter wants to get into consulting and he wants to build up a pipeline of clients. We would build a system for him that would kind of pull in the perfect client for him. But we've worked with e-commerce, we've worked with multi-level marketing. Yeah, you want that? Okay. $15,000. I'll get your credit card after the call. That's how I do what I do. I just showed you guys real life. So we work with people, help them build client acquisition systems using like paid Facebook ads, paid Twitter ads. You see all those ads on Facebook that say sponsored, and you can click on them. We do those. Does that answer your question?
Thumbs up. Any other questions? My last question then, Taylor. Any regrets?
I'd have to ask my wife again.
If you
Don't
want,
know.
if you need an opinion, you just have to get it from her.
Well, no, you've probably read this quote, but I was reading a book. About it was psychocybernetics. Actually, I'm reading it again. He was talking to a pro wide receiver, and he said, "What's the number one trait it takes to be good at anything?" Do you remember this, Dad?
Mm-hmm.
The guy said a short memory.
Yep.
For good things and for bad things. Because if you start believing your own press, then you'll decrease your output. If you start thinking about all the times you failed, then you'll make bad decisions. And so I think it's not that I couldn't figure it out. I just live like right here. And I don't think I have any regrets.
So
I don't know though.
Good move.
Yeah, it's a great move. It's a great move.
And in that book, he was specifically talking about what differentiates the great Hall of Fame wide receivers from average wide receivers. And it was talking about they need a short memory because if they drop the ball or they have a great day, it's the same thing. But in our industry, we get a lot of no's. That's where, from convention, they were talking about that book, Go for No. You have to be okay with getting no because you know that every no you get is that much closer to the next yes. And that's old school. I mean, that was 30 years ago when I first got involved in sales. You knew it was a numbers game. And you had to be okay with getting the no, knowing that it will just lead to the next one, which ties into what Taylor just said, is the short memory. So any final words from you, Mr. Taylor, to encourage us as fledgling entrepreneurs that someday we'll get to your level?
I mean, even right now, I just pulled up my my document. My last 14 calls have been no's. It's part of the game. The faster I can get through them all, the faster I'm going to get to yeses. So.
And for those of you all that were at convention, if you remember Rita Davenport talking about what was different from all those ladies, well, guys, but all the people on the floor. I don't know if you remember what she said. She called them a bunch of losers because they had more no's than anyone else in the stadium. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
they lost more times than.
So
yeah.
Mr. Taylor, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Hey, order me some more ProBio when you get a chance as well.
Okay.
Running out.
We'll do.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, we're gonna change it up just a little bit, and we're gonna take the next few minutes. I know our summer's been crazy, and our calls have been they've been a little different lately because we've had convention, and then we have 4th of July, but as you know, I always like to take a little bit of time and talk about a testimony. And so I think, Nancy, is it a business testimony that you wanted to kind of share? And then I know, Betty, you said you would share some stuff that's going on good.
Yeah, I actually just got off the phone a little bit ago with Heather Angst. I was hoping she was going to be on here. I kind of thought she might. Yeah. But we had a really good call with a potential ambassador that she has approached specifically for the business, who is a single mom with 3 kids. And I shared with Heather and this potential, that I, like most of us, joined Plexus for the health benefits. But when I joined, it was right around the time that Brian, my husband, was planning on leaving the law enforcement field after 20 years and transitioning from working the knife business part-time to full-time. And so what that meant for us as a family was definitely some financial changes. So when I first signed up and ordered the triplex, I thought, well, can I really do this for $125 a month when we're getting ready to make some pretty big changes? But it was pretty evident to me about 3 weeks in that I was loving the products and seeing results already. And so I jumped in and started sharing, and Becky, I was started out as an accidental ambassador, having signed up under Join instead of Shop Plexus, but turned into a really intentional ambassador and started growing my business. And so I think the thing that was amazing to me, and you know, there's some other businesses out there that are network marketing that cost a lot more to join that we've actually just been talking about in the last few days, several $1,000s. And when you can join Plexus for $34.95, and that's really what I talked to this single mom about tonight, was that you know, this was such a blessing for us financially, because several $100s a month for us was the difference between Brian having to go and get a second job and try to also build his knife business, and me being able to do this on the side, something that I loved already, was seeing great results from and wanted to share with people. So I think from a business testimony standpoint, yes, I still have my full-time job and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon with that, but I continue to grow this on the side. And I think that's a testament to being able to work a full-time job and grow my business. And like we like to say, in the nooks and crannies of our everyday life. So,
and your team grew last month by how many?
13.
13.
Yeah.
That's a lot of growth. That's awesome. So your little team's on fire.
We're all growing.
Yeah.
So
you were able to supplement Brian's income. So you guys didn't feel that loss, and it's just grown even more from there. So you didn't feel the pressure this vacation. You didn't feel the financial pressure that you might have felt in the past.
No, it's really nice to be able to know we had that money set aside and be able to take the vacation and enjoy that. And yeah, very exciting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Yay. And Betty, what do you have for us, my love?
Well, I think maybe the majority of everyone on here has heard most of my testimony, but you know, I also just started out using products and loving them, had no intention of the business side. And my big winning thing for me was that I have migraine free. You know, I can say just my health improved so much. I was already very active, very much into fitness, felt like I was doing all the things right, but I had no energy, exhausted, didn't have the energy.
We're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you.
Well, I'm afraid my service is not grand out here.
Darn service.
I know we don't even live that far out of town, but
well, okay. You had migraines. Is that what you said?
Yes.
And so even though it's not compliant for us to say that Plexus can decrease migraines or, we can say it here, yes, but,
right. We can
but
say
not. So what were the frequency of migraines that you experienced pre-Plexus?
Every single month.
Okay. So were they hormonal induced migraines?
They were.
Okay. Would you miss work?
Yes.
Okay. And are you migraine free now?
I am. I've had 3 in, I think, about 13, 14 months.
Wow.
I've only had 3. So life-changing. Yes.
Were they the same severity as they were previously?
No. I have controlled them with over-the-counter medication,
Okay.
as opposed to Percocet, Valium, Vicodin, those types of medications. So
That's amazing.
lots of relief. Yeah.
We just talked to a couple at church today whose his wife suffers. She wasn't at church today. She suffers from debilitating migraines, and so Lance has a call set up with her tomorrow. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
You would be probably a good one for us to kind of reference and maybe talk to in that regarding that. So more energy, fewer migraines. And I think everybody knows Betty's a runner. Y'all, everybody knows about that. So we all know about Betty.
Well, yeah.
This is the good Betty. We have the good Betty on our team. Not bad Betty. Good.
Right. Exactly.
Yay. I love it. I love hearing that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything quickly that you'll want to share? Everyone's good? All right. Well, let's move on to, it's back to school. I know a lot of people go back to school this week. Becky, you go back to, being the school nurse. We have a huge opportunity to put Plexus in the hands of teachers, daycare workers, administrators, school lunch cooks, crosswalk guards. I mean, you name it. Anybody associated with back to school needs Plexus because energy. We need energy, right? I used to teach school, and it is draining. So one of the things that Nancy, bless her heart, Nancy's like the graphics queen. Like, I feel like you can just like pop these graphics out, lickety split, and they look so good. So Nancy has made a few graphics, and last month we had so much momentum built because of the special that corporate gave to where you could sign up for $20. And so I would like to extend that for the rest of the month for my team. So if you have somebody that's on the fence, somebody that you're thinking of that would be a great business, like Heather's gal, Nancy, this would be perfect for her. I'll reimburse the $15 for joining fees. So basically,
It's the 1995
yeah.
4th of July special.
Yeah, but it's in August. It's a back to school special. So for those of you that aren't aware of this, it's non-compliant for us to post specifics on it publicly. So I'll put, I can do it, or Nancy can do it, can put the photos the graphics that she made in our team page for you guys to use. There's a generic one that says basically ask me about my back to school special. And then there's a more specific one that explains that you could basically join for, I don't know if it says $19.95 or $20 or whatever. And so if you guys want to start sharing that with your prospects privately, then that would be great. And then just keep track of who joins and get me names, and I'll pay them out the first of next month. Does that sound okay? Everybody good with that? All right. Awesome. Okay. Did everybody get a chance to watch the video that when Rhonda was here that we did about the opportunity meetings via Zoom? If you didn't get a chance to watch that, I know Cindy and Jen have already set one up for their team. They've already got one set for whoever can do that. So I want to really encourage you guys to do that. I know, Becky, you're doing a Plexus thing, an online thing. Is it this Wednesday? So you guys use your uplines, use your people like, Becky and Nancy and Cindy to schedule these online opportunity meetings. It would just be like what we're doing now, but you basically just briefly talk about the products and give the person a chance. One of the things that I was sharing with Cindy's team the other day is I'm going to hit the chat box right here. Did you guys see that pop up? let's say you guys have an opportunity meeting and maybe you've got a shy customer or two, and maybe they don't want to ask a question out loud. They can ask a question in the chat box. And so I'm sending this to everyone so you guys can all see it. But what I could do is if I just want to send it to anybody just specifically that's on the call, like I could choose to send it to I could click on Becky's name and just send her a question. And so if I am Becky's invitee, then Becky could ask on my behalf. Does that make sense? Are y'all following that? I just think that's going to be a really, really, really great way to get the products out to people. A lot of people may not come to an opportunity meeting at a building or at a place of residence, and maybe they don't have time or they feel disengaged from one of the online things because you have to keep refreshing. I find it's easy, but everybody's completely different. And so if someone would rather have a smaller, more intimate setting, to me this feels like having coffee or sitting across the kitchen table with someone, then you could invite one or two people with your upline and maybe another teammate or two, because you want to have third-party validation. You want to have people who are on there that can give their testimony, like Betty. It's just going to help you. It's going to help validate the products. And so I really feel like this is going to be a really, really great tool. It's just going to be another way to get Plexus in the hands of the masses and your audience. So that video, in case you want to go back and look and watch it, it's posted in our team page. So I wanted to remind you about that. And we have our Art of Connecting, Tuesday night?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Tuesday night is still Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. But we're going to be switching over and experimenting with you guys since we have a pretty good relationship with everyone that's on there. We're going to be switching to a Zoom call because you like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can help me walk through this. I also want to encourage anyone that's on your teams that did not go through the Art of Connecting series, a month and a half ago. That series is now getting ready to launch on August 18th. Addie King has decided to offer it out to her entire team. So it's going to be redone. So it's going to be on Zoom because they want to be able to see people, and that's fine. We're going to switch over for that. Remember, anyone on our team, they get the whole thing for free. So make sure all your people have an opportunity to go through that. We are doing chapter 6, if you all haven't read the chapter, but chapter 6 is about finding common ground on this current book. And it ties in almost perfectly with the Art of Connecting, of being able to understand how to connect with people. So I think it's a perfect tie-in. So again, anybody you have on your team, your 14, Nancy, Becky, that really joined, I would really encourage them to get on that one. It starts on August 18th while we're at the beach, but I would be doing the meeting from there, which again, that's a beautiful thing about freedom. You can work from anywhere, right? And anyone on this call that wants to go through it again to get a refresher, because you're not going to pick it all up on one time. You're always welcome to just reach out to me and I'll give you the 100% off code, because everyone gets it on this thing for free. And I appreciate everyone's support. Everyone's been so good on that. I appreciate your help. We're growing.
Yes, we are. Anybody have anything else to say? Any questions? Everyone good? All right. Well, I think we're not going to drag it out any longer. I know you guys have to get back to work and school tomorrow. So I'm going to put this up on YouTube and I'll pull it into our team page.
I put the link out there. The YouTube link. I posted the link from Taylor's morning formula. It is on it's on our team page now, so you can go there and check it out. It's an 11-minute video. It's very good.
Yeah, I meant this video. So yes.
Taylor's is out there too.
Yes, it's all there. So
I may put a joke out there too.
Thank you guys. Thanks for logging on, and we will see you next month. Bye.
Love ya.
Love
Bye, everybody.
Love you.